So what is an irrational fear that you had as a kid that you realized when you got to adulthood? Like, why did I ever fear that? I can give you an example if you want. I give you two examples of mine. One of mine was pretty basic. It was, everyone was afraid of quicksand, and then you realize quicksand's not even like really a thing. Like, it is a thing, but it's not like it's depicted in the movies. You know, like as a kid, you're like in quicksand, you're like, I'm gonna sink and die, and then you realize like, oh no, you like step in it, and you're like, oh, I got it all over my shoe. Like, it's not a big deal. The other one I had as a kid was whirlpools. You know, like a natural whirlpool. I was always nervous one was going to form and suck me in, and that was going to be lights out for young Chris. So do you have anything like that?
I ain't gonna lie. So I don't know if it's like this up north, but down in Georgia, when the tornadoes hit, you hear this loud purge siren, right?
But that's not irrational. I'd be terrified too.
No. This is where this is going to be completely southern in country. So
Okay.
you know how, like, have you ever heard the whole the devil beating his wife thing? When it's raining and, okay, so in the South, when it's raining and the sun is shining at the same time, they say, oh, the devil's beating his wife. Why? Do not ask me, bro. I don't know why. Don't ask me. So one day when I was a kid, literally, the devil was beating his wife and there was a tornado going. So I'm looking and I'm just like, oh, it's the end of the earth. And like that was always been the most irrational fear. So every time
I don't know if that's irrational though. I'd be terrified too.
Look, keep this. Every time I seen that, like every other blue moon occurrence, I'm like, oh God, am I finna die? And I'm like, wait, no, it's just a weird natural occurrence. Like, and then the other one was when I was a kid, I swore on life that if I didn't eat chocolate, I would not be black.
That's more on my whirlpool.
I swear to God, because I don't know who said it to me. It might have been my brother. That sounds like something my brother would have said to me. Like either my brother or my auntie said that to me. It was like, oh yeah, you know why you like chocolate? Because you black. If you don't eat chocolate, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like Michael Jackson. I'm like, what? It just freaked me out as a kid.
Well, we learned that I was scared of whirlpools that never happen, and you thought Michael Jackson didn't eat chocolate. Welcome back. Sketching Up. It's been a little while, but things are settling down, and we're coming back into it all. So we're back. We are back, and we're going to keep it that way. We're gonna keep it that way. Just a lot of stuff was going on, so we had to kind of take some time. But we are now rolling and rocking. I'm Chris Schnabel, Kyle Scott. Kyle, how are you doing? Are you happy to be back?
Yes, consistency is key. We promise we'll be better. Yes,
yeah, that's good. It's 100%. I was talking to somebody in a different podcast, and they're like, I think the biggest thing about a podcast is consistency. And I was like, wow, all mine are so inconsistent right now that I am not following that rule whatsoever. So, but consistency had to wait. I got a new job. I moved across the country. Yeah, just a lot of stuff was going on the last couple months, but we're back, and we plan on doing this episode. We plan on doing another episode, maybe next week, talking about the Mario movie, which is supposed to be a big thing. But for now, we are here, and guess what, Kyle? This is episode 50. 50. So we're moving. We're not moving. We're moving at our own pace, but we're moving. We're at, half the century mark already. Started, 2020, 2021? I think 2020 is when this podcast started. And then you officially joined in like late 2020, early 2021. I think that's what it was. So, but we've been around for a little bit, and now we're really starting to get consistent. We got some good stuff on the table here, but before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about Schnabel Studios. Make sure you go follow us on Instagram at schnabel.studios if you want to follow anything that's going on here. We're going to start updating the social media a little bit, kind of keeping everybody up to date on the things we do on the show, but live and stuff like that. So that's definitely where I want to go to do that. And you can find out what other shows we're going to start doing again. They'll all be there. So go to Schnabel Studios. You can follow me at Chris Schnabel on Instagram as well. And Kyle, I'll let you promote yourself if you want.
I'm actually going to make one for this thing. So I got to do one.
Oh, he's going to make one specifically for this. So you'll have to tune in and see what that's going to be if you want to get into that. So we're going to kind of go over some stuff we missed because, like we said, we've been gone for a little while. And then we're going to get into the big news. Just dropped the day before we recorded. Deadpool 3 is officially official. So we're going to get into that in a second. But let's go over some stuff we might have missed, and we were just talking about this before we started, so let's just start with it, because it's kind of news to you that DC looks like it's in a lot of trouble, and it's not good. So for people that don't know, DC, and I guess Warner, you would say, was bought by Discovery, and Discovery's like, we want to cut some costs, so they're getting rid of a lot of the movies that were coming out. I think Batgirl was the big one that was cut. Batgirl is going to have Michael Keaton in it as Batman again, which is a huge deal. Gone, not showing it, not recording anymore. They just cut it completely off the slate. They want to save some money. So how does that make you feel? We've talked about DC a lot. We've talked about where they are, where they were going. I know you're the DC guy on here. Tell me your thoughts, seeing as this is just news to you, so this is like perfect.
Powerful, man. Like, it's not supposed to be like that. This was supposed to be like our comeback to fight back Marvel, you know, have the nice dark gritty because everybody's ready for the gritty stories and the gritty heroes, but, you know, Ash is king.
Yeah. And the craziest thing is, like, they canceled some of the movies, but some of them are still going. Like the Flash movie, which Ezra Miller has done a lot of terrible things, so probably shouldn't be going, is getting the okay. But then Batgirl is getting the back seat. But then Black Adam's still coming out, which I'm super pumped for, so I'm okay with that. But then also Shazam is still coming out, so they're in such a weird spot, and it makes it seem like they're all going to be one-offs. They're not really going to be connected like they were.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's what they don't want to make that universe. And I think they're just trying to just get some quick hits, and then I don't know what they're going to pivot to. But if they're not going to do the live action, they need to pivot to going back to the animated series.
They should just do the animated. The animated ones are just so good, but not profitable. They're not profitable.
And it could be. I mean, you just have to roll it out different. And like, I'm not going to say I'm an expert in that, but I'm just saying, just like roll it out differently. Maybe figure out, or maybe you can, okay, think about this, right? Just had a thought. Just random thought. Y'all don't kill me for it. This is literally just popped in my brain like 5 seconds ago. So think about if you could piggyback off of the surgence of anime in America.
But
because
I think
you know how anime in America is like huge now and everybody loves it. Everybody was loving Invincible, watching Invincible, that whole deal. I was like, so why don't they just come out with DC? DC just had this hard push for all of these really good, gritty stories, and then you put it on Amazon Prime, get that thing going, and then you just dominate that market until you can figure out how to do the movies. Or you can just kill the shows. You can just kill it with the shows in the animated series, and you'll be totally fine. And then you can use it with the movie.
They are trying to do the animated series. I mean, they're doing a new Batman animated series, bringing all the original people back from it. But they don't make the same money that the big blockbuster live actions do. And I mean, and I don't. First of all, they wouldn't put it on Amazon Prime. They would probably try to put it on HBO Max, which is, I think they're trying to shut down HBO Max and make it just all Discovery Plus, which is crazy. Like, it's all going to become.
Well, then think about this, though. Okay, not to cut you off, though.
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
about this, though. If you have it on Discovery Prime, what happens if they're cutting all this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll get the one-off, see how much money we get from it, and maybe they might just flip it into something else to where they can be like, okay, cool. Now we're gonna have our own little Discovery Plus. Now that we get our Discovery Plus, now we'll make the universe and just be only on Discovery Plus to where now you got to get it.
Well, I think that also is tough because 2 reasons. One, you still want to release it in theaters because that's where it's going to make the most money. And 2, if you just make it on Discovery Plus, I don't think you're going to get the big name stars coming out, because I don't think it's the same residuals you're going to get back. Like, I don't think you're going to get the same payment for being just on Discovery Plus that you would if you were on, you know, going into theaters or anything like that. So I think those are the big two hiccups in that. But I mean, they're trying to make like an animated universe, it almost seems like. And I don't know. I don't know. But I do want to say, you mentioned Invincible. It was great. I watched it. The comic is also great. And they stuck very close to the comic, but changed some things. And I like the changes. You know, it's funny. A lot of those Amazon ones where they pick up something, like we talked about The Boys before, and now Invincible. When they pick it up, the changes they make, I truly enjoy. They're very small. They're very subtle. But I mean, we've already talked about The Boys. I like The Boys comic way more, or show way more than the comic. I'm not really a big fan of the comic. I'm not a big fan of the comic at all, but I do really like the show. And Invincible, I really love the comic. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. It's so good. But I do like how some of the directions the show went in that the comic didn't go in. I think it's the first 12 or 15 issues is the show, and there's 160 issues. So like, if they keep picking it up, there's a lot of story to go, and it gets so good. And but where was I going with that? If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. You were saying it's anime. It's very anime based. I don't think it's actual like Japanese anime or anything like that. But I don't think that really is a thing anymore, is it? Like, anime is just anime now. It just comes from everywhere. But it's so good. Have you seen it or no?
Which one?
Invincible.
I actually haven't seen Invincible.
Oh, you're missing out.
And I haven't watched it, even though I got Amazon Prime. I should go watch it. Honestly, you
should go watch it. I think it's 8 episodes. I think, maybe 12. It's so good though, and like I said, also you should read the comic. The comic is excellent. And there's another comic that's very close to this that I've been reading, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Another thing that happened was D23. A lot of the shows and movies were announced. Nothing really of note. My favorite thing is they kind of went over Daredevil one more time, a little bit. Are you excited for Daredevil to be back in the MCU, or in the MCU, actually be back? I mean, the Netflix show was unbelievable. So if they do anything close to that, I mean, it's going to be great. What are your thoughts on Daredevil, Kingpin, anything else Marvel that you've seen so far?
I can dig that though. Honestly, I like Daredevil. I just like him as a character, just in general. I remember the old movies. I really love those old movies.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Carter Electra. But yeah, it was cool. I like it. I think it's going to be cool because I like having that, especially with that in the She-Hulk, coupled with the She-Hulk, and then just like having the cross universes and like how they're tying all the stories. Because my thing was, I used to always say, they have all these expansive universes and all these extra stories. Why don't you just animate them? Because they're great. And so it's cool to see this whole She-Hulk thing. And I guess like since I'm into She-Hulk, you might as well just like slide into it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
but so with the She-Hulk thing, so I've just seen the backlash and I haven't watched it just because I'm a binger, so I want to make sure the season is over and then I want to make sure all the hoopla is over with, so then I can just watch it in peace for real. But from just some of the clips and then just like from what I kind of know about She-Hulk, I mean I don't think it's that bad of a representation. Like outside of it being slightly a little too political. And like, but I kind of would understand why, because of just how the world is or whatever. And yeah, it's just like I guess it's cool, but I haven't watched it, so I can't give a real opinion on it. That's why I said I want to wait before I give a real opinion. I
can give a real opinion. It's funny you say it's political. I don't think it's political. I think people are saying that because one thing the show has done. And I've enjoyed the show a lot. I know you're a binge watcher. I think you should pick up on it now because it is really good. First of all, Daredevil has not been seen yet, but of course we're recording this on a Wednesday. They come out Thursday, so by the time you're listening to our voices, who knows? You know, we all know he's coming. We saw it in the ads. That's not a spoiler or anything, but he has not shown up yet. But I've really enjoyed the show. I think it's really fun. It's the best TV I've ever seen in my life. No. But it's MCU. It's not going to be. There really aren't any movies that are like the greatest thing you've ever seen, like best cinema you've ever seen. They're just really fun movies, right? But it's funny they say it's political because they make fun of the people that are calling it political a lot. And the last episode, which would have been the wedding episode, they really went after the people that would be in the Reddit rooms making fun of them. Like, they said the exact things that the people in those rooms would be saying, which is so funny. And then that's why the people are probably like, it's too political, it's too this, it's too that. It's not any of those things. They're just mad. They're just butthurt that we're all laughing at them on screen. But I think it's been a lot of fun. It's been one that anyone can watch. It's a breath of fresh air from these shows. It's just goofy. It's solid. It's definitely solid. Yeah, I would give it a high rating. I don't know what I'd give it yet because it's still going on and it can always fall off a cliff. But so far, I've really enjoyed it. And the people that aren't enjoying it, I don't think it's because of the show, unless you just don't like fun TV shows. That's all it is. If you like any other fun TV show, you would like this. That's all it is a fun TV show. So definitely my thumbs up of approval. When Kyle picks it up, I'm guaranteeing he's going to give that thumbs up of approval as well. You know what you have to do is you have to binge it, and then on the last episode, we can look up when that is, and we'll record after the last episode, and then we can, can do that. Because I don't want to do week to weeks or anything like that, because I watch it with my girlfriend. So, like, that's our thing right now, is we watch it together. So that's what I want to keep doing. But at the end, we can watch it, come on, and we can give our final thoughts on it, the big things. There's a lot of guest appearances. Not big ones. They're all like these D-lists no one ever thought would be in the MCU type people. So, except for one in the very beginning so far, which I believe is also a thing. Abomination from the 2008 Hulk movie, same actor and everything, is in this one, which isn't really a spoiler either if you saw Shang-Chi, because he's on very briefly in Shang-Chi as well. So, like, very cool that they're bringing stuff up like that. And I'm very interested to see what's going on with the Hulk. If you watch it, you'll understand that. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but it looks like they might be doing some fun stuff there too. So definitely my approval. I'm telling you, when Kyle watches it, he'll have his approval as well. So I'm glad you transitioned. You transitioned that. You haven't lost a step in our time off, have you? You are right there still. You are right there still. You haven't lost a damn step. So now let's get to like the main crux of why it was such. So we decided, all right, we're coming back. We're coming back. Wednesday the 28th is when we're recording. We're like, we're gonna record that day. This was like a week ago. We're like, we're gonna do it. And then what happens Tuesday the 27th? Mr. Ryan Reynolds goes onto Instagram, posts a little video, and it blows up. But Chris, why does it blow up, you're asking? Because he announced that Deadpool 3 is officially coming in 2024, 1 year from now, and Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. Brain explodes. First of all, so excited. We all knew Deadpool 3 was coming, and if you watch She-Hulk, there is a very, very little thing that shows that he's in the MCU. If you watch the title credits or the end credits, you'll see it. And I don't remember what episode it is, but you'll see it. But when he announced that, and now that and Comic-Con's coming up as well, so I think we might even find out more about it very soon. It was just so exciting. And Kyle, you sent it to me. So what was your initial thought when you saw it? And how excited were you to send that to me when you did?
No, I'm going to just be real with you. I seen it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was just watching it, and then, like, I was like, oh, bet a new Deadpool coming out. I'm like, all right, bet it's lit. And then when I seen Hugh Jackman walk in, and he was like, hey, man, you want to play Wolverine? He was like, yeah, I ain't going to lie. The reason why my phone kind of messed up because I low-key threw the phone. Like, and I just threw it up, and I was like, oh, no, my iPhone. Like, it was one of those moments.
So we got, what was that, like a 30-second clip at the most, right? Let's do the deepest dissection of a 30-second nothing clip that you can do. Okay, so Deadpool is coming back. We saw the beat up Deadpool from the end of Deadpool 2 with the duct taped up and stuff like that. So is all that going to be canon? If there's any superhero to come over from the Fox universe and keep that continuity still, it's Deadpool. Like, he's going to break the fourth wall. He can just come in and he can make jokes about how they're now Disney. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of that. But let's flip over to Hugh Jackman really quick. Do we see Hugh Jackman as he was like in Logan or in the original ones? Are we going to see that orange suit, original OG Wolverine from the 90s TV show, from the comics, with Hugh Jackman in the uniform? What do you think? What do you think we're going to see in Hugh Jackman?
I can tell you what I want to see.
That's basically what this question is. What do you want to see? Because we don't know. I mean,
I want to see the old school, and I just want to see him do the old school, and I just want to.
But do you mean the old school from the movies, the old school from the comics and TV shows?
From the comic and TV shows.
Yeah.
Like I want that to be real, like real authentic, because I really want them to follow close to the comic. So it's like.
Me too. I wonder how they're going to do that. I mean, we know he's from the other universe, but I mean, they said already with Daredevil that it's the same actor and he's playing Daredevil, but that stuff isn't going to be MCU canon. So like, we can get these same actors to play these, and they don't need to do the origin stories because we know the origin stories from the Fox movies. Do they just come in and they're birthed and now they're part of it? Or do they actually transfer universes? I think the only one that would really transfer universes would just be Deadpool. He would just be like, hey, yeah, I'm here. You know, something like that. I'm sure he's going to get teased in the end of a movie. You're going to see an end credit scene where he steps out of a portal, or like, he's like, someone is here to see, there's a mercenary here to see you. And he walks in, he's like, hey, I just need to talk to you, Doctor Strange. You know, something like that. Like, oh my God. You're just going to get something very, very in your face, very funny, and very just not MCU with him. But like with Werewolf, with Wolverine and the other X-Men, I just don't see it being as easy to just say like, oh yeah, they came from a different universe. The only way I could see that is, and we know we're leading to Secret Wars, where a bunch of universes all collapses, and this is the newer version of it. A bunch of universes collapse, and they all end up on Battleworld, which is formed by Doctor Doom, which we all know. I've been saying for years now we're getting Doctor Doom. I think we actually had an argument on this podcast, not me and you specifically, but there was an argument on this podcast of who is the next big bad. And I was saying Doctor Doom, and who was the person? I don't remember who I was opposing, but who are they saying was going to be the big bad in this next one?
Wasn't a Sentinel dude.
No. Was it Magneto or like Galactus? Maybe it was Galactus. I think it was Galactus. Yeah.
Like
they were. I don't remember who it was. It could have been anyone. It could have been you, Connor, B. Gill, another guest. I don't remember who it was. But they were
Galactus, or it's not Kang. Not Kang.
No. I think it was Galactus because we both. I said Galactus, it hit you, it hit me. I'm pretty sure they were saying Galactus, the next big bad. And I'm like, no, Doctor Doom has to be the next big bad. They just bought the rights. They own Doctor Doom. And before the movies, Thanos was a big villain. Like, he was a big bad in the comics. Like, I'm not trying to say he wasn't. But Doctor Doom was the big bad in Marvel. He's the smartest. He's the strongest. He was the most known. He was in for the comics. He was most known for TV shows. He was most known for everything. So that is that's what we're gonna see. And now that we know Secret Wars is coming and all that, Doctor Doom is coming. It's just a matter of how, when, where, why, all that stuff. So, how do they get all these guys in? Do they just start from scratch? Like, I mean, you can. It's the MCU. You don't have to follow the comics like to a T. We don't have to have Captain America, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, and Wolverine all existing at the same time. And I think that's something people don't even put into they don't even put into question. Like, they're just like, no, they have to all exist at the same time. That's how it is in the comics. But like, this isn't the comics. It's a whole different universe. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they don't have to exist at the same time. Do we see these guys come back for one or two more movies. I mean, we're getting 2 movies of Secret Wars, right? So, or Avengers, no, is it Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars? I think those are the 2. But like, I don't know. I'm just throwing theories out there at this point. But I'm just so excited that we saw this. I love Ryan Reynolds. I'm so happy for him because he tried for so long to get this off the ground for Deadpool, and then they thought they were going to lose it because Fox like wasn't going to keep making them. And then it got bought, and they're like, well, they make an R-rated movie, and they are. Disney's going to make an R-rated movie. Crazy to think. They're making an R-rated movie, and it's going to be Deadpool, and I'm so excited. What are some other thoughts you have on this, other than the Wolverine or the theories I brought up? What else you got?
Just a personal view. If we do have Deadpool, and if we're going to continue Deadpool, who I will bring up. I always bring this guy up when we talk about Deadpool. In the future of Deadpool. My guy Cable. I want to see my guy Cable, and I want to see my boy Bishop. Them are the 2 people I've been wanting to see since the 90s, bro. Like, I need
you
to
did see Cable at least.
Bro, I need to see one of them 2, bro. Like, I need that. Like, I need that. Personally, 5-year-old Kyle would go nuts. I would buy everything.
But do we get the same Cable? Because Josh Brolin plays Cable, but he also plays Thanos. So do we get the same Cable? Do we get different Cable? It all really comes down to, are they all coming from a different universe, or are they, that's really what it all comes down to. Do they come from a different universe, or are they just being created? Because if they're just being created, you can have a new actor play him, or you have the same actor. It doesn't matter. You can't really tell it's Josh Brolin. We just know it is. Like Thanos doesn't look like him. It just sounds like him. Probably really isn't. It probably is him, but it's probably him in a green suit. So like, because it's all animated anyway. So you could definitely bring him in. But yeah, I wonder how we know Deadpool 3 is coming next year. So we know from this moment we're in right now, which we're recording on September 28th, from this moment right now until I believe it was mid-November of next year, or maybe 2 years. So maybe a 2-year gap, right? 2024. Yeah, September 6th, 2024. So we have about a 2-year gap. Somewhere in there, we're going to get an end credit scene of Deadpool and maybe Wolverine, because we know they're both in there. And I think it's going to be sooner rather than later because they just announced it. Does it happen at the end of Black Panther? I don't see why it would. I don't see where it would come from. But that's coming out in November. Does it happen? I don't even know what the next one after that is. What's the next one after Black Panther? I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, you're going to have to look it up. So I know Black Panther comes out November 11th. I cannot wait to see that. We'll speak on Black Panther really quick while you're doing that. Black Panther was announced. It's going to be about almost 3 hours long. It's going to be the longest running MCU film that's not an Avengers film ever. So in over 10 years, there's never been a solo movie to be this long. So it's going to have a lot to it. So I have a feeling half the movie, about an hour of the movie, is going to be about the death of T'Challa. And then the other half of the movie is going to be the fallout of that. It's probably going to be an hour and a half for one, an hour and a half for the other. That leads to 3 hours. So you're probably going to see 2 movies in one, is what I think.
Okay, so here's all the movies and series part of Phase 4. So you got the Moon Knight.
That was a TV show, yep. Done.
Yep, Doctor Strange, Multiverse Madness.
Yep.
Miss Marvel, June 8th.
Done.
Thor, Lord and Thunder.
Done.
Wakanda Forever is going to be November 11th. I'm going to have to watch that one.
Yep, got that one on the dot.
Just like I'm going to watch this Guardians of the Galaxy
That's not no Deadpool in that. You say the ones. I'm going to say yes, no, or maybe. I probably would say no for Black Panther, but we'll leave it at a maybe because that would be a good one to do. Guardians of the Galaxy, no, he's not going to show up in that. What's after that one? That one's in the winter. That one's towards Christmas.
Let me see. I just clicked off of it because it stopped there. All right, so you want 20?
That's fine. I was going to say. You got 2023 right there? All right, let's hear it.
No, they stopped at 2022. Let me see. 2023.
Okay, that's fine.
You talk about that. Let me see when I get 2023.
I mean, I know there's Fantastic Four coming out soon. I think that's a couple years down the road. Thunderbolts will be coming out. That's a TV show. There's just a lot. There is a lot. I understand why people are kind of falling off Marvel because there's so much coming out in these next few years that it's really hard to keep up. But I will say one thing. I don't think you have to keep up with everything to be a part of it. It's not like you have to watch Miss Marvel and you have to watch She-Hulk and you have to watch Moon Knight and you have to watch Black Panther and you have to watch Thor and I think you can watch what you want to watch. I would say the most important things are the movies. Watch the movies. But I mean I say that, but if you didn't see WandaVision, you'd have no clue what's going on in Doctor Strange. So maybe I'm wrong on that.
Loki. If you didn't watch Loki, none of this makes sense to you. So
yeah. So maybe I'm wrong on that. But I don't think, after watching Miss Marvel, the only one you'll be confused going into is the Marvels. But if you're going to see the Marvels, you're probably going to watch Miss Marvel anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to not watch Miss Marvel and then go watch that movie, but maybe I'm wrong. And then Moon Knight, I'll say Moon Knight, I don't think really connected to anything. If I remember, it's been a little bit since I watched it.
I found some other ones for 2023. All right, so Werewolf by Night, October 7th. Werewolf.
That's like a black and white movie.
Wakanda. Okay, Kraven the Hunter.
Yep.
January 13th.
That's Sony. Okay. That's Sony, so that's not in the MCU.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Very possible. That has the highest percentage in my eyes so far.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
No. I'm gonna go straight now.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
That's Sony, so no. That's the
Marvels
movie. No.
Blade, November 3rd, 2023.
Ooh. That could happen, and that could happen there. I still think Ant-Man and the Wasp has the highest probability. Continue.
March 2024, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 2.
Part 2, yeah. That's a two-parter.
Captain America New World Order, May 3rd, 2024.
No, I don't think he's in that one.
July 6th, 2024.
I don't think he's in that. That's a TV show. That's like the Marvel version of Suicide Squad. I don't think he'll be in that, but I mean, you never know. But I'm still on Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024.
Very possible. If he's not out by the Fantastic Four, I have a feeling he'll be in the end of Fantastic Four.
Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, May 5th, 2025.
He's gonna, and you could stop there because the movie comes out September 6th, 2024. So when was Fantastic Four?
When is Fantastic Four? November 8th, 2024.
Yeah. So it's got to be Ant-Man. That's my prediction right here. September 28th, 2022. At the end of Ant-Man.
So this is Screen Rant, so this might be kind of off. But they do talk about how in this Fantastic Four might be the setup for Doctor Doom.
I believe that because Doctor Doom is a Marvel villain, but he is very much a Fantastic Four villain. So I can see that being. I think you're going to get hints of him along the way, and the first time you're really going to see him, just like the first time you really saw Thanos was Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like it's kind of be the same thing. Like the first time you're really going to get interactions with Doctor Doom is in that Fantastic Four. I can completely see that, 100%, which I'm excited for. So my bold prediction is Ant-Man and the Wasp because I believe that's the quantum realm of something or something like that, into the quantum realm or something like that. I can totally see that being it. Especially if there's a movie coming up. Yeah, so that's my. And if it doesn't, then the Deadpool's a one-off, and then he shows up when Battleworld comes in, and then that's how he's put into the MCU. Which I hope it's not that, because if it's that means we get one Deadpool movie, then we don't see him again until like 2027, and that's just too long. That's just too long. So, but September 6th, 2024, we are officially getting Wolverine and Deadpool. I'm very excited.
You never know, though. We might see Deadpool just in other little one-offs, though. Like, he might be featured in a show, in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might be like a...
Well, yeah, but that's what I meant. Like, I think the most realistic time you'll see him is Ant-Man and the Wasp, because that's the quantum realm one. So, like, you're probably going to see him in somewhere in that movie when they're going through whatever. He's going to pop up either there or he'll pop up at the end. Like, he made it back with them. Like, he made it from wherever they were. They got to they met him in the other side. And at the end of the movie, you see that he actually made it back to the MCU universe with them. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it just has so many possibilities where, like, where in Black Panther can you see him arriving? You know, it just doesn't seem reasonable that he would arrive. Where in, what was the one you said? Thunderbolts. Like, where does he arrive? Like, I don't see him arriving. Guardians of the Galaxy. Where do you see him arriving? Like, I don't see him arriving. There's no time travel in that or anything like that. And another bold prediction about Guardians of the Galaxy is a main character will die.
Who?
It's going to happen. I don't know if that's been announced or not. I don't know yet. I do not know yet. It's not going to be Gamora, right? Because after Avengers and everything, she's kind of making her way back. Would not be surprised if it's Star-Lord, because Chris Pratt.
That's what I think.
I can also see, oh my God, I can't remember his name. Batista's character. Drax. Yeah, I can see Drax, just because, honestly, if Drax died, I don't think anyone's gonna, like, he's a funny character and all, but, like, he's not super important to me within the group. But I do think it's gonna happen, because it's the third one. So, like, they need there's gonna be a major change. And I just don't know what it is yet. The big prediction is Star-Lord, and that probably means it's not going to be him, because they like to change things up on us. And they will even refilm things or re-edit things, so we don't actually know what's happening sometimes. So they haven't done it as much of late, but yeah. So we had the same prediction. So that's kind of the consensus with everybody. It'll be Star-Lord that'll be leaving us by the end of that. But that is going to be a movie I'll go see as well. I saw Thor as well. We didn't talk about Thor because I think that came in our little break area. I thought Thor was fun. I wouldn't call it a good movie because it wasn't. But it was fun to be there. And Christian Bale was, like, legitimately amazing. Like, so good. I really enjoyed his character in that movie. Gore the God Butcher. I mean, it's Christian Bale, so it shouldn't be too surprising. He's just a really good actor. It's just too bad he only had that. He's going to only be in that movie probably for one movie, or in the MCU for one movie, which is awful because he was so good. Unless when Battle World comes, you know, he's from a different universe or they bring him back to life. There's so many things that can happen. So, yeah, we can talk a little bit about that too. I mean, they announced that there's going to be the Kang Dynasty. So Kang, who is at the end of Loki, we saw, like, he's starting to take over the timelines. We all know he's going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. That's been confirmed. So we're going to start seeing him build his dynasty, and it's going to lead to an Avengers movie with a lot of the new Avengers. She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. I'm assuming Spider-Man will be there in some form. You're going to see, I mean, Thor's still there. The Hulk, we'll see. So you're seeing a lot of these characters. Like, it's going to be a new Avengers, though. I mean, Captain America, was it Sam Wilson's Captain America? Bucky. Bucky's actually a part of the Thunderbolts, so I don't know if he'll be part of the Avengers as well. But it's going to be interesting. So they're all going to be taking on Kang in some way, shape, or form. And then Secret Wars is coming, which we all kind of started to speculate as the movies and stuff were coming out. They were clearly leading the Secret Wars. Because in Secret Wars, the timelines fall apart. And Doctor Doom creates Battle World, which literally is the only thing left. The only thing in any timeline across all the timelines that's left. And whoever can survive is there. and then they try to take over. Doctor Doom becomes ruler because he created it, and then they try to take him back over. The heroes get together. So you don't really need all those classic characters if you're doing this, because like it's just whatever characters survived. So maybe Miss Marvel survived and Captain America didn't, you know. So that's where we're getting to, and so there's a little explanation of everything. So I'm excited. I think actually this run can turn out really good. I know a lot of people are disappointed on the run so far because I think it's going slow, but I don't think they realize the beginning of the first 10 years didn't go fast out the gates either. I mean, like Thor: The Dark World came out in that time, and it's considered one of the worst movies in MCU history. But I think people just need to be patient and let it build and let it get back and build some momentum. You got to start slow. You can't go, you don't want to go 0 to 60, you know, so... Have you been keeping up with any of the MCU stuff after Avengers? Really,
I'll just be honest with you, not really. I've been catching up on some of my anime stuff. That's just honest.
And you've never been big Marvel guy anyway, but you were more the DC guy. That's why it's so disappointing that they're just not doing their thing. They're just not doing their thing.
It's cool. I mean, it's fine. Like, the thing is, like, probably during December when I get, like, a lot of time off, I'll probably sit there and just watch all. Mm-hmm. I'll probably sit there and eat a bunch of holiday cookies and just watch it all. So.
I mean, you're going to have a lot to watch. Especially, you haven't been catching... What's the last thing you saw on Marvel? Spider-Man? Doctor Strange.
Spider-Man was the last one.
Yeah, you haven't seen Doctor Strange yet?
I ain't watched Doctor Strange. I haven't seen She-Hulk. I've only watched like one episode of Daredevil. So I ain't even there.
Well, Daredevil, you can watch it, but it doesn't really even matter, right? Because that's not even going to be canon anymore. But it is such a good show. I definitely highly recommend keeping up with it anyway. So before we wrap, I mean, it's been a long time. We haven't really been on for a while, but we're coming back. We're doing it again. So we're going to kind of go over what we've been reading or watching. We did this a little bit before our break, but we're bringing it back. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it gives people that are listening something to really dive into. Maybe they haven't, or maybe they want to learn more about. So Kyle, what have you been reading or watching, or just anything that the listener can dive into? Give a little description, but don't spoil anything.
Something I've been reading is just one of them fun reads. I actually just like watched the whole thing on YouTube one day. On a Saturday, I was bored and I was watching YouTube, and there was this thing called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls, the worlds beyond Antarctica. So basically it's like a flat earth type of theory thing where we're encased in this ice wall, and there was people who broke through the ice wall, got to the other worlds. There's all these other worlds, all these different things, and it's kind of cool. It's a little fun. Also, I've been
I said cool. No, I was
it's just something just to like tickle your fancy at 7 o'clock in the morning. What I'm watching is currently like One Piece has been getting real crazy. Well, if you're watching it, you know it's lit. But really, what I've really been enjoying is this anime called Parallel World Pharmacy. It's about like a dude who gets transported to another world. He gets reincarnated, and he ends up becoming the child of like the leading pharmacist in the country, and he has a special power to where if he knows the molecular structure of something, he can literally make it. Like he'll just like magically poof, and he's like come out his hand. So he's.
I've never been high on animes. Like I just never been able to get into them. I love hearing the description of them though, because when you describe an anime, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
It's wild. It's great because it's like this 10-year-old kid, and like he's literally he knows because he's like from the future. Basically, like from the future, he gets transported to another world where it's kind of like medieval times ish kind of deal. So like. Homeboy is coming up in there with like ibuprofen back in the day, and he's just like the guy. It's like you see him like Homeboy just cleared. I guess whatever. He just cured the Black Plague. Just like Homeboy is just killing it. Like his pops is like the leading pharmacist, and he's like what you got going on? But like he got all these special powers, and it's so crazy. He got magic. Like he's like this super healer god. Like it's wild, but it's fun. You watch, it's a nice little slice of life. You know what I'm saying? It's real cute. I really like it. Oh, sweet.
Perfect. What was it called? One more time.
Parallel World Pharmacy.
And where can you see
you
it?
can watch it on like Crunchyroll. I think it's on Crunchyroll, maybe Hulu, but definitely Crunchyroll. Or Verve.
Cool.
I don't know how long Verve is going to be up for. I heard that it's going to be taken over by Crunchyroll, so I just went and redid my Crunchyroll subscription. And we just went. Oh, I did want to announce something. It's going to come in about a week and some change. But Bleach is going to is coming out in October 10th. And Bleach was like an OG anime. It ended a long time ago, and now it's coming back on October 10th. So it's lit.
Let's go. Let's go. See, I know nothing about anime, so everything. But the people that are anime fans probably just went nuts. If they didn't know that. So they know exactly where you're going with it. On my side, I'm just going to talk about a comic I was reading. It's a new comic from Image, so it's more independent. It's called Rogue Sun. It is fantastic. This is what I was talking about when I was like, there's one kind of like Invincible that I'm going to talk about. So I can give a little synopsis of it. I don't want to really give too much away, but I guess I can give what's already said, like in the synopsis online or something like that. So it's based in New Orleans, which is awesome because you never, it's like New York or like, somewhere like that was super. But he's based in New Orleans. The kid's dad is Rogue Sun. He is he's a father that left his mom. Like he hasn't been in his life or anything like that, but that's the superhero. He's murdered. And in his will, he gives the power of Rogue Sun to his son that he's never really seen before. Now the son is just like, he's like a bully. He's like rude. Like he's not a good person, but he clearly does it because he hasn't had a dad in his life. And his mom is kind of there, but kind of not. And then he gets the power of Rogue Sun. And when he gets the power of Rogue Sun, he can hear his dad. And it's very good. I heard it was good. I picked up the first 6 issues after I heard it was good, and it is really good. It actually just came out on the 28th, which is today, issue 7. It's a running comic, so it's not over yet. But if you want to read something that's new, that's not Marvel or DC, that you want to try to get away from the two bigs, Image always has really good stories, and they can. I mean, that's where The Boys was. That's where Invincible is. I'm sure there's a ton more that I'm not mentioning. But Rogue Sun, Sun S-U-N, not son as in his son. Definitely worth the read. I would highly, highly recommend it. So there you go. You got one thing to watch, or 2 things to watch from you, and 1 thing to read from me. So that's gonna about do it. Kyle, where can people find you specifically? Where can they follow your art page maybe? Give yourself some shout out.
My art page is I don't want to get it wrong. I ain't trying to do wrong this time. But wrong.
Perp Panda.
Well, yeah. So it is
4
Panda Perp or perp.palace. You can find me on there.
Panda Palace. That's a panda.
It's the purple guy.
That's where my dyslexia kicks in.
It's okay. Mine kicked in slightly too. That's why I'm like, let me get it right. Because, you got a nice little...
But was it 4? Is it Perp Palace 4?
It's just Perp Palace.
Oh, I don't even know what the hell I'm thinking then.
All good.
I knew the Perp. I got one. I share it every time. I don't read it. I just share it. I just see it there and I share it.
So, and then you can just on my personal joint, Kyle _2 crazy with a K. You know what I'm saying? Crazy with a K. So I'll refer to.
But I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't really been able to see my own social media because I've been working for another social media now. I believe you're more on Perp Palace than you are on your own. So I would follow you on Perp Palace if you really want to. If you really want to see what you're doing. If you really want to get updates from Big Kyle over here, you want to go to Perp Palace. There you go. For me, mine's at Chris Schnabel, Schnabel, and also follow Schnabel Studios, Schnabel.studios on Instagram, which will be getting updated more. I already have a plan to start updating it more. We are getting back on track, trust me. It just got derailed. I got a job. I moved. I'm an adult now. So everything's coming to a close here. So definitely go follow that. Listen to some old episodes. This is episode 50, so there's 49 other ones that you might have missed. And if you listen episode 1 to now, there's a big difference in them. So it'd be a lot of fun to go check that out. But this has been Sketching Up. We thank you so much. Make sure you follow us on there. If you go there, there's a link in our description. You can go there and you can see all the other podcasts and other things we're doing as well. So that's Schnabel.studios on Instagram. You'll find everything else there, including our link tree that has links to everything else. That was Scott. I'm Chris Schnabel. This is Sketching Up, and we'll catch you next time. See you later.